All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome. We got a new show here. We're going to do a podcast. We're going to do a podcast, and we're going to do it about basketball because the three of us here, Adam Chudwin, you know him as our call screener here on the Rich Eisen Show. TJ Jefferson, you know him as our social media grandmaster and Cowboys irrational honk.
How dare you?
Of course, me, Chris Brockman. We're going to do an NBA
Mac
pod
Jones
because we love ball. We love talking ball. We love watching ball. So we want to talk a little bit more on the show. So we're going to do a podcast here. We're going to start it out. It's here on YouTube where you find all of our Rich Eisen Show content. Just maybe give this a listen to if you want to get some weekly NBA and whatever in the world of ball fix. We're going to talk about it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. First off, guys, what's up?
What's cracking, man?
Great to be here, Chris.
How you feeling? Now, Adam, you don't get a lot of run on the show unless we're kind of taking some jabs at you for being a distraught, irrational Bears fan. Is that a fair take?
That's definitely a fair take. Most of my calls have been calling into Rich and talking about how I want Nagy to be fired. So that's really where most of the topics have been. I was able to interview people at the 2018 NBA All-Star Game, which was a highlight.
Right.
But it's mostly me being a person who's complaining about Matt Nagy.
So you spend so much of your time on the show just like sad and like living with your Bears sadness. I'm actually excited for us to finally get this going. We've been talking about doing a pod like this for a while. I'm excited for you because the Bulls are good. Like, they're kind of awesome. They're the 2 seed in the East right now, and they're having a great year. They have a lot of young, exciting players. We're gonna talk a little bit more specifically about the Bulls a little bit later on. We got a fun segment called Blatant Homerism, where we just kind of brag about our favorite teams. But just real quickly, you have to be pumped about where Chicago is right now.
So pumped. This is actually, to me, the best team the Bulls have had since 2011, that Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah team. This team is exciting. You have 2 players who are in the top 10 in scoring in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Guys, it's been miserable for so many years with the Bulls. We're at the start of a new era. I'm very excited right now.
What do LaVine and DeRozan have in common?
Ooh.
Both have LA connections.
No, they're both on my fantasy basketball team. Get at me. All right? Act like you know. Act like you know.
Of course, TJ referring to our Rich Eisen Show League with all of us here. There's, 8 of us
8, yeah.
who work on the show. We managed to convince all of us to do a fantasy basketball league finally after last year's kind of travesty,
Last year's debacle.
which was mostly my fault for how we set it up. But we're doing a league this year. It's fun. Maybe we'll talk about that from time to time. Let's get right into it, TJ. Let's talk about the top 5 teams in the league. Let's do a quick Power 5 because we are how many weeks in this season? Are we about 6 weeks into the NBA season? Something like that. It started in mid-October.
Like 24 games. So
I know you're watching enough basketball per week. I'm catching a few games here and there. I know, Adam, you're locked in, especially on the Chicago scene.
I'm not watching as much as I should or I will once football gets done. That's for sure.
Right. And that's kind of my thing, too. Like, during the football season, or at least until the Super Bowl, while it's still going on, I'm catching up if the Celtics are on national TV. I didn't get League Pass this year, but then I'm watching, kind of the Turner games, which are on Tuesday now, which is kind of weird, right? So are they switching back to Thursday once the football season's over? Is that a thing they did just for NFL?
I would think that definitely had to have some type of play when they moved it, because Thursdays was a pretty big staple for NBA on TV.
Thursday has been the TNT night forever.
I'm assuming that this is just while Thursday night football is going, or maybe they're trying something. I'm not sure, but it has been weird, like conditioning myself to check on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is true.
Exactly. So throughout the ball you've been watching this year, let's just run down your top 5 teams right now. Let's start that off real quick.
Well, if I'm going to go number 1, it's very hard to.
You're going to go number 1 first, or you're going to go start from the bottom?
Oh yeah, because I hate.
I know you hate the reveal when they reveal one first.
Thank you for stopping me.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. Number 5, guys. I'm
Ron Burgundy.
The Milwaukee Bucks at number 5.
Milwaukee
16-9?
Bucks, number 5? They've really come on, actually.
I mean, they've won 2 in a row, 9 out of their last 10.
Yeah, they won 9 out of 10. They were really bad. They were out of the playoffs 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, very slow start.
Still so early, but, you still have arguably the best player in basketball, depending on where you reside in that argument,
think you're right
if you're
about
honest. They're 16-9. They're there, right there. Are they number 1? I don't think so, but I feel like they're definitely in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're the former champs. You always have to, consider them as a competitor. They're the defending champs, and so they have the former MVP, so they're going to be always there.
Yeah, they've been kind of hit with COVID. Chris Middleton was out what seemed like 3 weeks.
He was gone, yeah.
Brook Lopez hasn't even played this year. I think he's having another back surgery. I don't know when he's going to be returning. They just signed Boogie Cousins, which is super interesting. I'm dying to see how this plays out for them. Is that going to be a PJ Tucker situation like last year where he's only playing 10, 12 minutes a game? He's kind of there to get a few rebounds, maybe knock down a shot or two, and just kind of have some toughness, some presence on the court? Or is he going to be like a real factor, getting 15 to 20 a night? 8 rebounds.
I feel like we're sadly, because
peak
Boogie Cousins is one of the greatest what ifs ever. If he doesn't tear his Achilles and then subsequently his knee, I think so. Yeah, if we're just going to judge what he did with the Clippers last year, you're going to get 10 to 12 if you're lucky, and that's minutes. He'll hit a few threes hopefully for you, but I don't really know. Like I said, this isn't 2015 anymore, Boogie. So
I think Boogie can be a guy that doesn't play a lot of minutes, but can be an important player in a pivotal game in the playoffs. And I think that's really what they signed him for, is just for that home stretch in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. I like Milwaukee. I kind of like how they've turned it around because it wasn't looking very good. They were playing really bad basketball, not having Middleton, obviously hurt. And Brook Lopez does a lot for them. Like, he knocks down threes, he blocks shots, he kind of protects the lane. So I like them at 5. All right, keep going, TJ.
All right, so we have them at 5. Let me pull up my list here again. So I would think that at number 4, I'd probably look at the I'd probably have to go the Jazz at number 4.
Yeah, Jazz are nice.
I'd say the Jazz, and the Jazz that's a solid group right there. And Rich likes to use solid as a not good thing. I'm using this as a positive. They play good defense. They can score. Their home crowd is electric, and you're always at a disadvantage if you're going to Utah to play a game. So, I feel like the Jazz are going to be there near the end. I'm not saying, obviously, I don't feel that they're going to win a title, but I feel like the Jazz are always going to go deep. It's a very good squad.
You know what I like most about Utah, Adam, is that the Jazz are a team that knows who they are. They know who they are, and they don't try to stray from that when they play, right? They play up-tempo, they shoot a ton of threes, and they let Rudy Gobert just patrol the paint and dominate on the defensive side, blocking shots, getting rebounds, and they don't try to do things that they know they can't do.
Yeah, well-rounded team all around. You have Clarkson coming off the bench. You have Bogdanovich. Obviously, you have your superstar in Donovan Mitchell, your second all-star in Gobert. That team can make a deep run, and I think can potentially win the West.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. All right, TJ, keep going.
All right, so I think at number 3, I'd have to put the Chicago Bulls in at number 3. And because I'm going to do something with number 1 that Brockman traditionally hates, but I don't know how we can do anything different. So
and now, see, here's the deal. Because I'm looking at the standings, right? Because I'm trying to shake out.
I think you know where I'm going to go with this.
I do know exactly what you're going to do, and it's going to make me so upset. So you know what?
But
I don't want to interrupt you now. Keep going, and then I'll complain about you after.
All right, so I think, who did I say? The Bulls coming in at number 3.
Yeah, you like Bulls number 3.
The Bulls, I picked it was Billy Donovan, I'm sorry, for Coach of the Year.
Hey, you were on that.
To start the season. I just, we had a group chat earlier before the season started, and Adam pointed out some moves they were making, and I remember specifically looking at their team going, man, like on the low, the Bulls are really putting together a really good group of players right now, and it's showing right. DeRozan, Levine. I like watching these guys play. Lonzo's fun to watch. The Bulls are fun, and that's what I'm looking for in a basketball team. Just if I could sit there and watch you and just kind of smile and go, wow, these guys they're playing basketball at a really high level right now, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, Adam, I mean, you must just have so much, like TJ said, just joy and fun.
Oh, it's
watching
amazing.
this Bulls team each night.
I'm watching so many Bulls games on Stream East because I refuse.
Shout out to. Oh, I don't even know if we should put that out there, Adam.
I
don't want them getting shut
I don't know if
down.
we want to put that out there. It's going to get shut
Never
down now.
mind. I mean, NBA League Pass. I watch so many games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a joy to watch the Bulls this year after so many down years. They play up tempo. They're exciting, and I think the Bulls can really make a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
Like I really believe it. I think that the Bulls, their archetype is the Suns from last year, who were a bad team the previous year. They changed their team around with Chris Paul, and the Bulls have done similar roster moves, getting DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo and Caruso, etc. Yeah. And I think we can. I mean, I'll talk about it a little later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
we didn't mention Caruso and who's out right now. I think, but Vucevic is
Vooch,
balling.
yeah.
Derek
Is
Jones
he back
will dunk
or
on
is he
you.
still out? Is Vooch back?
Vooch is back, and he's been playing great.
Because he was out with COVID, right, for a little bit?
Yeah.
Now, TJ, here's what I think you're going to do with your last two picks. Here's what I think you're going to do. I think you're going to have Brooklyn 2, and they're going to have co-number ones, which is such horseshit. Like, just pick one.
All right, well, if that's the case, if you don't want me doing that, because it's how do you pick between the Suns and the Warriors right now?
I don't know, but I want you to just pick.
Well, if that's the case, then I got to remove the number 5 team then, if you're not going to let me, because Chris Brockman is right. I was going to go Brooklyn Nets 2 and then have a two-way tie between the Warriors and the Suns.
Actually, that's
because
fine.
I don't know how
you're totally right.
I don't know how you can pick between the two right now.
You're totally right.
The Suns, the story came out about their owner and what a human piece of excrement he is, and then all of a sudden they started to thrive, which really kind of annoyed me because I was hoping that they'd go downhill once this news came out.
Right.
But instead, they're like, now they were balling at a ridiculous place. What did they win? 17 in a row?
I think 18 in a row.
18
Yeah,
until
18.
they split games with the Warriors. So I think right now, those are definitely your top 2 teams in the association right now. But it's going to be interesting, right? Because Klay's coming back and Wiseman's coming back. But we don't know what we're going to get out of Klay Thompson. But the thing about Klay Thompson is this, and I've said this about players before, everyone in the NBA is an incredible athlete for the most part, right? But Klay Thompson's skill level isn't precipitated on his otherworldly athleticism. It's not like a Zion where, his skill is how athletic he is. So Klay's a shooter. Shooters are always going to be able to shoot. He's also an elite defender. We're going to see how much that gets taken away by these injuries that he sustained. And as a basketball fan, I'm hoping that not too much is left because I just love seeing basketball at the highest level.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right. I love Klay so much. He just seems like he's a super fun guy, and just kind of a cool hang, and he totally gets it.
Yeah, he's always on his boat, like doing Instagram lives.
Yeah. He's
a
a super fun follow on social media. He's got the little mini fro going. He just seems like he's a cool guy.
Then you got Steph, who's like,
Right.
Steph is annoying, and I'll tell you why, because we've all shot basketballs before hundreds of thousands of times in our lives, right?
not like
all
him.
3 of us.
Not
We
like
can't
him.
shoot like Steph.
Not like him.
And that's annoying.
Steph is making so many 8-year-olds go and shoot half-court shots
Yeah.
and just have the ball go all over the place. Like, that's literally what he's done. But
And my point about Klay is like, you're right. Shooters will never lose that. You shoot once. You shoot for life if you're a shooter, right? But being an elite defender on the perimeter, has he lost a step?
Yeah, that's
Is he
what I'm
gonna be a
saying.
little slow? Just maybe not even a full step, just a half step. And is that going to be enough where he's not that top 10 defender in the league anymore? He's going to take a little step back, and maybe teams are going to be able to exploit that. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to see. How long is it going to take him to get his win back?
Yeah.
Because, game shape is a little bit different than practice, workout, work your way back shape. So I think that's what I'm dying to see most out of Klay. Just where is he? Obviously, when he comes back, he's going to be a totally different guy once the playoffs hit. He'll have had a number of games under his belt. He'll have those month or two back, and
All that means
we'll
is
see.
This is bad news for the rest of the NBA.
It's bad news, and I give you credit because you said it a few times in the last couple of years, like, these teams had their window.
Yeah.
They had their shot when Klay was out, Durant went down. Like, they had their chance to get their title. And now the Warriors are going to be back full strength.
Man.
And it's just look out.
And
Like,
at the very least, Clay will be able to spread the floor out and at least hit corner threes.
Yeah.
And make it easier for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, Andrew Wiggins is balling right now.
Balling.
But it shouldn't come as a surprise.
He was the number
one
one
draft
pick.
pick.
Yeah, he was the number one pick.
You know, he was a 20-point per game scorer, but he fell off a little bit, I feel, in some people's eyes. But
I think if you compare this Warriors team to old teams, he can be like the Harrison Barnes of this team, where he's kind of that third or fourth option.
yeah. Except a better overall player, I think, in my opinion.
Better athlete, too, right?
You know?
I mean, Wiggins, you could just look at him. Like, that guy
I mean,
could
Harrison
play.
Barnes was nice, and he was, in North Carolina, he was great. But, I think Wiggins might be a little bit better at this point. Obviously at this point in their careers, Wiggins is better. But, yeah, he's been shocking. And I don't know if you guys noticed, on Instagram a few weeks ago, there was a clip of a Penny Hardaway move where he would back into the defender. They did a spin move, then a hop, then a fadeaway, and they're like, why does no one ever use it?
The way he did the dribble, like he opened
so
the other way.
sick, bro.
Like he opened the way opposite of what you think you would open on the spin. And it was like, how does nobody do this move? Didn't Wiggins do it?
And then Wiggins does the move like 2 nights
He did it on Chris
ago.
Paul. And they made him
It's
look
like Wiggins, which is funny because like these guys are kids, right? So they follow the same dumb Instagram pages that we follow, like as hoop fans. And so he saw that and was like, screw it, I'm doing this move in a game.
And he did it, and he pulled it off amazingly.
He pulled it off amazingly. What do you think of Adam? Before we get your thoughts on your top 5 about Brooklyn, what is this team?
I mean, look,
it doesn't look like Kyrie's coming back. You
No.
just saw the Woj bomb today that very soon unvaccinated players are not going to be able to travel to Canada. So like those games are out. It's just another place that he can't play. It doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon.
I also saw something that said he would be interested and willing to get a vegan. Like I said, I don't know if this is real or not, but a vegan vaccine.
What?
Is that an Onion headline?
I must have
real?
been,
Come
man.
on,
I
it's
just
gotta
scrolled
be.
something.
Did they give that to you at Erewhon?
Yeah. Aisle 8 at Erewhon.
Look, as long as you got Kevin Durant.
Yeah, right.
know,
It seems like also it does seem like James Harden's starting to get his groove back a little bit. He's starting to have those big scoring nights, getting to the free throw line a little bit more. It seems like he's figuring out how the new rules are being officiated, and he's getting back to being that James Harden we've been used to seeing for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
But, it's like right now, LaMarcus Aldridge, I believe, is like their 3rd leading scorer, which
He's
great
taking
story,
he's taking
by the
over
way.
Blake. Like Blake Griffin is just out of the rotation now.
Blake's averaging like 6 a game. I think I read that he called up DeAndre Jordan to kind of talk to him to see how he handled like losing a spot in the rotation, because obviously Blake Griffin's never had to deal with that his entire life. But it's great to see Aldridge come back. As we know, he had to leave last year. There was a heart problem. So it's great seeing him back. And that guy has always been, a 20 and 10 guy his whole career. Not saying he's probably not going to get to 20, obviously, on this team. But, when you substitute Kyrie as your 3rd guy for LaMarcus Aldridge, that's kind of a steep drop, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to think about the Nets, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're kind of in limbo right now.
They're in limbo, but they're the 1 seed in the East. You know what I mean? Like, they're the most weirdest team, I think, going right now. Because, like, they got all the personalities, but it seems like they're always in a bad mood. But they play really good basketball because they have Kevin Durant and James Harden. It's like, there's such a weird team to figure out.
I like Harris. He's a good 3-point shooter.
He's out for a while, right? Didn't he get injured?
I think so.
I think he might be back now, though. I know he's only played like 14 games this season. So,
but the LA thing, him coming back is like super great. And obviously he's filling that scoring role that they probably hoped Blake Griffin was gonna fill when they picked him up, at least be a 6th man. But
between the two of them, they're averaging 19 a game. So there you go.
Right. All right, Adam, what did you think of TJ's top 5? Any different on yours? How did yours shake out?
I pretty much agree with TJ's top 5. I have the Jazz at number 5. They've won 4 straight, looking good. I have the Nets at number 4.
Okay.
And the Nets. I still think the Nets can make the finals even without Kyrie, just because of how good Durant is.
Yeah.
And Harden also. They have 2 top 10 players on their team. For sure a top 5 player in Durant. And So you just can't count them out. I think they're still trying to figure out, their roles together. But I have them at number 4. I have my team, the Chicago Bulls, at number 3. We are looking great right now. We've won 4 straight. And the great thing about the Bulls is we've had a lot of injuries this season. We're still playing well.
Right.
You have Patrick Williams, who is a promising second-year player.
Yep.
Is he out for the season?
They say he's out for the regular season,
Okay.
but could come back for the playoffs,
Got it.
which is huge. He's a great defender, can hit an open 3, and we've had Kobe White out with COVID protocols, and despite all that, the Bulls just keep ticking. They're playing. The big thing with the Bulls before the season was people thought they'd be a horrible defensive team. In the complete opposite has happened.
Right.
We have Caruso, who's I think leading the league in steals at this point. He's been injured though the last couple of games, but Caruso's leading the league in steals. Lonzo's been a huge pickup. He's a great perimeter defender. And so this team is really playing good defense. You had one of the steals of the draft, Ayo Dosunmu out of Illinois. He was a second-round draft pick. Last night he played over 40 minutes as a starter for his first time in his career. And so this team is clicking on all cylinders. I love Billy Donovan as a coach. I think Billy Donovan gets respect from the players even more because he won 2 national championships at Florida.
Yeah.
And, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, those guys look up to him. So you have a coach that the players will respect off the jump. Jim Boylan was not the guy before. He was a disaster. And so I like where this team is going. It's unfortunately DeRozan's going to be out with
COVID
protocol for the next 10 days.
Yeah,
Which
these
will hurt
guys
the
are
team.
10 days. Yeah.
But long term, I mean, I see this team going deep, like making a deep run, which I'm very excited about. So I have the Bulls at number 3. I have the Warriors at number 2 right now.
You like the Suns a little bit better?
I like the Suns a little bit better. I mean, the Suns made the finals last year. We're on the huge winning streak. So yeah, I have the Warriors at number 2. I love the emergence of Jordan Poole this year.
Yeah, right.
He's averaging, I think, 17 points a game. He's really stepped it up in place of Clay. And once Clay returns, Poole can either come off the bench, he could still start, or he could come off the bench and be that 6th man.
Yeah, he'd be a perfect 6th man, it seems like. Just kind of lead that second unit. And he's kind of proven that he could, if he needs to, he can throw in 30 on a night that maybe Steph is off a little bit.
Another dude that I think was a huge pickup for them was Gary Payton II. Yeah. He's provided such a defensive spark off the bench for that team.
Spark, that's the right word. Yeah.
And that dude's got hops. Have you seen his
crazy
dunks?
hops?
As Rich says, that man is not afraid to attempt to dunk on. He's like Ja Morant. If you're there and the hoop's there, he's coming for you.
Yeah. Hey, oh, you're in the way? Cool. I'm just gonna jump over you.
Yeah, like Stuart Scott said, GP, are you with me?
And he's it's a lefty though, and it looks cooler when lefties go up to throw.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I have the Warriors at number 2, and then I have the Suns at number 1. Just a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Chris Paul. The crazy thing about Chris Paul is I thought he might have been done 2 or 3 years ago.
He's getting better, kind of.
Yeah, he's getting better. It's weird.
It's not like he's just playing. He is playing at a high level still.
Is he 36, 37,
36,
something like that?
He's 36. He's turning 37 in, I think, May of next year.
It's unbelievable.
It's unreal because usually throughout history with point guards, they
don't age
they
well.
erode very quickly.
Look at Steve Nash.
Yeah, and so he's defied the odds. They signed him to that huge deal last summer, and I think it's going to be worth it for them. So I like the Suns. Booker's out with an injury, but
yeah, a little hammy. But I think he just got active. I have him in fantasy, so I know that he's been activated. So he might play this week.
And then you have Ayton, who is motivated to get a big contract.
This man.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay this man.
He needs the big contract. So this team is just well built, and I could easily see them making the finals again.
Yeah,
so that's my top 5.
Yeah, tough to argue with you guys. I think.
By the way, just real quick, JaVale McGee's averaging 10 points a game. All right,
Really?
that's
pretty
impressive.
I have almost picked up JaVale McGee in fantasy at least a handful of times. He's just there, and I'm like, do I want to pick up McGee and use a spot? He really fills a stat sheet. He knows his role. Another guy knows his role, plays it very well, happy to play it well. Defensive presence, fills the lane.
10.7 boards right now.
Wow.
10 and 7, just in probably how many minutes?
15.
15?
15
Yeah.
minutes a game. That's really great.
production.
That's so efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not one of those plus minus guys. I can't figure that stuff out, but I'm sure it's a pretty good plus minus.
PER.
And he's shooting 67 because I always round up, by the way, too. He's shooting 67% from the field. So
what's his true shooting percentage? I don't even know what that means.
No idea.
All these nerds. I like what you guys said. Your top five is pretty good. I think I'm going to have Utah instead of Milwaukee, kind of at the bottom spot. I just like that they play a little bit more defense than the Bucks do, and they're a really proficient offensive team. They average 114 points in the game, which is tops in the NBA, second in the NBA to Charlotte. So I really like what Utah does. And you can't argue with the other four. Chicago, Brooklyn, take your pick. I like the Warriors. I think are my number one team. Again, they play a little bit more defense than Phoenix does, and they score at a little bit better rate. And I think it's tough to argue with Steph as your MVP right now. So whenever you have the best player in the league who can literally score 50 seemingly every single night, and they're just so fun to watch. So the Warriors, I like the Warriors as my best team right now in the NBA. You guys, we all agree with that, right? Oh, you had Phoenix.
I had the Suns, yeah.
And I had both.
And you had to tie between.
I had to tie because they're both great right now.
But the fact that the Warriors, like you said, are getting Clay and Wiseman back.
Yeah, that's not fair. Okay.
What is the timetable for Wiseman? I saw that he was trending today. Is that why? Is he coming back soon?
Let's see.
I'm not sure.
That was the one thing I was just wondering. Is he more of a playoff type? Because Clay, they were saying he could be back by what? Start of the new year for Clay?
I think sometime late January, yeah.
God, they're going to be so dangerous when
it says from the San Francisco Chronicle of Warriors, James Wiseman unlikely to return before January.
Okay, so Wiseman's going to be back probably in a couple months. Man, it's so huge, man. He was coming along so well. All right, let's get into...
just real quick before we move, just one other guy I'm loving, and I've said this before, like Jordan Poole has been balling this year, and he's been... And first of all, the Warriors, you guys might not get this. Adam, you'll probably get it. Their team light skin. They got a lot of light skinned ballers on their team, man. I was watching it the other day, like, bro, that is team light skin. And those guys, they're dunking on you. They're hitting 30-foot threes on you.
Bulls are second team light skin with Lonzo and
Second
Levine.
team light skin. Lonzo and Levine. Yeah, no kidding. All right, let's move on. Adam, we talked a lot about the Bulls, so let TJ talk right here. Let's go blatant homerism. This is where we openly just talk about our teams in whatever way you want. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you indifferent? What's going on? TJ, you got two teams, so you go first. What's up with Philadelphia?
13-11 right now, second in the Atlantic.
Embiid balled out last night.
Embiid balled out since he's been back. We were 8-2 when Embiid went away on COVID protocol. He missed 10 days. We went from 8-2 to, I believe, 8-7 or something like that. So losing him, I mean, obviously he's the key. He's the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, of course.
But since he's been back, let's see where we at here. We've won 2 of our last 3.
Well, you're back in the playoff picture, man.
Back in the playoff picture,
right now.
second in the Atlantic Division. He had 43 and 15 and 7 last night, and we got to figure out this Ben Simmons situation. It's just very simple. We're playing well, but if he's not going to play for us, then you just got to get something. Pieces, right? Pieces to fit in. Doesn't have to be a superstar. Because as we've seen, these teams that are going to the finals and winning their finals, they got 1 or 2 superstars, but you need these role players who will play defense, who will hit, clutch shots. You don't need a guy necessarily to come out and score 20 points every night. You just got to get players that fit into that team and into that system. And I'm hoping that that's what they're trying to figure out because, not having that player is not good for this team, and also not having a replacement for that player. Like we were talking today about Simmons for CJ McCullough. Sure, let's make it happen.
Why not?
Like
just something.
Something's better than nothing.
Right.
But also, as always with Philly, it's always going to come down to the big man's health. And if he can stay healthy, then the Sixers are always going to be a problem. But he's had a hard time staying healthy. And, missing what he missed, almost 3 weeks of ball, I figured that it would take him about 2 months to get in shape to, come back and really be the Embiid that we want to see. And he came back and he had, I think, 42 in his first game back a week and a half ago. So, I'm happy with that, but there definitely needs to address this Ben Simmons situation.
It just seems like it's just a cloud kind of hanging over the whole NBA season.
Yes.
It was all we talked about in the offseason and then before Kyrie kind of made his stance about getting vaccinated or not, but it's just like all we did was talk about Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons. Is he worth it? What is he worth? Should he do here? Does he have any leverage? Oh, wait, he's getting fined now, losing his leverage. And now it's just like when the game started, we kind of forgot about it, but now it's like getting stirred back up again with the Woj bombs from today about, the unhappiness in Portland, and Dame suddenly has a list of guys he would like to play with, and Ben Simmons is on it.
Yeah.
So what are we waiting for?
And as far as the Clippers go, the Clippers, I'm not sure what's going on there, man. They're 13-12. They are 3 out of their last 4. I think we went on a 3-game losing streak, came back, beat the Lakers, which is always great. Anytime we can beat the Lakers.
Yeah, anytime.
Much like Aaron Rodgers owns, Adam, the Bears. I think Luke Kennard has now been on Wikipedia as the owner of the Lakers. Luke's been playing great. Paul George has been, he's been playing great. I don't know. It's so hard. I didn't have high expectations without Kawhi. Let's just be honest. You put a healthy Kawhi on this team, it's a whole nother ball game. So I'm pretty lenient, and I don't really get so worked up about the Clippers if they're losing, because I can always sit here and go, well,
your best player's out.
The claw's not out there. So.
He's not out there.
But, Luke Kennard's been balling. We got to figure out Eric Bledsoe, this situation. He was starting, and now he's coming off the bench. But PG is, I think we can finally put to bed the PG slander. The man is an elite player.
Playoff P days are over.
Yeah. Palmdale P, let's go.
Yeah,
So that's
player.
my very short look into the Sixers and the Clippers. There's nothing really overly exciting going on. They're staying above 500. And we'll see.
Is there any chance that Kawhi comes back deep in the playoffs? Is that even a thing?
I think
no?
there's a chance, but they'd have to basically be in the Western Conference Finals,
maybe. Yeah.
And then even at that, it's like, do you want to risk rushing him back? Like,
It seems no, right?
yeah,
No.
It doesn't seem like it'd be worth it.
no, unless of course you do have a chance to make the finals, then he can play, sure. But I don't think that's going to be in the cards for them this season.
Like say you go on a miracle run, make the finals. Does he come back to guard Durant or somebody?
Yeah,
Or?
If that's the case, sure.
Even maybe if he can come back in the Western Conference Finals, but first or second round, probably it's not
It
going to
wouldn't
happen.
be worth it.
Yeah. Quick about the Boston Celtics. They're in town tonight to play the Lakers on Tuesday. Maybe by the time you hear this, we'll have gotten a win, and we play the Clippers on Wednesday. Starting to play a little bit better. Starting to get the offense going a little bit. It was really encouraging to see them score. 145 the other night against Portland. 137, scored 130 in a loss to Utah. Able to keep up with them. Won 6 of 9, so we're now above 500 as well, 13 and 11. I guess I thought we'd be a little bit better. Was hoping for a little bit more consistency out of this team, but they are starting to play a little bit more defense. Tatum is doing kind of what I had hoped. I thought maybe he'd be closer to 30 points a game, but he's at 25, but really encouraging at 9 rebounds a game, playing really well. Obviously an all-star, one of the top players in the Eastern Conference, if not the NBA, but got themselves back into the playoff picture, now the 6th seed in the East. Don't love where that matchup is. If the playoffs started today, they'd have to play Milwaukee, which probably wouldn't go well. Or they wouldn't be in the play-in. I keep forgetting the 7-10 play-in tournament that they're doing now, but as long as they can avoid that kind of play-in tournament, I know we have a tiebreaker, I guess, on Philadelphia at the moment. We're at the same record, but anything you can do to avoid that play-in, I think, is a must. But team's playing well, trending in the right direction. Obviously, it's going to be super tough to kind of overtake the Brooklyn Bulls, Bucks triumvirate that's kind of leading the East right now, but can sneak up on Miami, and Washington is obviously one of the surprise teams in the whole league. Not sure how long they'll be able to sustain that. They've slipped a little bit. They've lost 6 of 10. But if we can get into that 4-5 seed, that'd be super great. And I think that would be a successful season under a first-year coach. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at kind of the third mark of the year. We're a third of the way through the season, I think. So, about a quarter away through the season. That's kind of how I address Boston at the moment. Adam, Bulls. We've already talked a little bit of Bulls, but obviously you're super psyched at 17-8.
Yeah, the season couldn't have gone better than it's gone so far. it's exceeded my expectations. I thought the Bulls were going to be good this year, but this is really even more of a surprise than I thought. I really think the sky's the limit. It's going to be very difficult to beat a Milwaukee or a Brooklyn in the playoffs. Those teams are experienced, but I really think what's interesting about this season is, to me, Zach LaVine is a legitimate superstar. He's become a legitimate superstar who can be a number one guy in a championship level team, and I never thought that about him until this year. He's really made that jump. And then you have DeMar DeRozan, who is I think the best signing of any team this year. He's playing at an MVP level. So you have two guys who are playing at MVP type levels, 1A, 1B, and the sky's the limit for this team. It's crazy to watch.
It's funny because I think Bill Simmons had tweeted this out yesterday when his initial reaction after NBA free agency signing when you guys got DeRozan, and he was like, "How is this going to work? Is this one of the worst contracts I've ever seen of all time?" And DeMar DeRozan is fourth in the league in scoring. LaVine is sixth. Like, you guys have two of the top six defense scoring players. And then you throw in Lonzo, who's you could make a case he's one of the best all-around players in the league and what he's able to do offensively, distributing the ball. He's a really good rebounder for a guard. He's transformed his three-point shot. And then Caruso just seems like the steal of the offseason.
The people's hero, Alex Caruso.
in what he's been able to do defending on the perimeter. He's such a spark. He seems to be always around the ball, always make the right play at the right time, a smart player, a heady player. Like, this Bulls team is easily one of the biggest surprises in the league this year.
Oh, for sure. And I think people underestimated the Caruso signing because when he was with the Lakers, he's kind of like the goofy dude who,
his hair's kind of balding. The fans love him. He comes in. He was starting for a second, but only because he had to.
But I don't think people outside of the Lakers fans really took him that seriously. And now as a Bulls fan, I really see how good of a player he really is all around, especially on the defensive end. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited. And I was saying to you earlier that I really believe this, that to me, Zach LaVine is the best offensive player the Bulls have had since Michael Jordan. I think in terms of offense, he's actually better than Derrick Rose. He can get to where he wants. He can score at will. And he is really legitimized himself as a top-tier player in the league now.
Yeah.
You mean the Derrick Rose who was the most valuable player?
That Derrick Rose.
What was he? What was
Derrick? Bold statement.
What was Rose averaging at the?
I think his MVP year he averaged around 25 a game.
Yeah, I mean he went 17, 21, 25, and 22.
Exactly. And LaVine, I think last year averaged around 27, 28. He's doing the same this year. Yeah. I'm not saying all around, but I'm just saying in terms of scoring that LaVine is an elite scorer we haven't had since we had Jimmy Butler, who was great, but nobody since Jordan has been an elite level scorer like this guy. It's impressive.
Yeah, and it seems like he's doing it in all facets. He only averages, LaVine, 3 3-pointers, just under 3 threes made per game. So it's not like he's like Steph Curry, for example, averages 5.5 threes made per game. So it's not like he's going crazy from the outside. He's kind of just getting it done in every facet of his game, averaging 4 free throws made per game. So really good player, really strong. I mean, it's super exciting when you have young guys on your team who you can see blossom and become superstars. And I think that's what Zach LaVine is.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move on a little bit. We want to hit some current events. There's only one big current event that I kind of want to talk about. What is the future of Damian Lillard, TJ Jefferson?
Well, I mean,
I know what you want, but what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I want Dame Lillard to get traded for Ben Simmons and come play for the Sixers. That's what I want. I don't know what the future is. We're now seeing that Dame Lillard has a list.
He's not happy.
Well, it seems like he's not happy, but he also has a list of players that he's saying he would like to play with in Portland. But I think Dame has to really look at this, right? And he has to go, are you going to, or am I, let's just say if I'm Dame, am I going to win a world championship in Portland as the team is currently constructed, or are we 1 or 2 moves away that could put us in that position? And I think the hard answer is no, you're not. So Dame Lillard has to really decide how he wants his career to be defined. Like, he can be the guy up in Portland, up in the Pacific Northwest, and score 25 points a game and maybe, win a playoff series, but you're not going to go to the conference finals. You're not going to go to an NBA, championship with the team that you're on now. So I feel he's got to kind of decide what he wants. Does he want to be that person that's loyal and I'm going to stay in Portland my whole career? Because here's the deal. When it gets to about year 13, 14, 15 for Dame Lillard, the questions, not even the questions, but the statement is going to be, yeah, he was great, but. Yep. And it happens to everybody.
Yep.
He was great, but never won a title. So he's got to really look inside himself and figure out what is important to him. If being on that list, if getting up the pyramid is important to him or not.
And a perfect example of that type of player who was great but never had playoff success was somebody like Tracy McGrady, who was an elite player, but he never got above the hump in the playoffs, so he's kind of a level below even
though we know on a skill level, Tracy McGrady was there with Kobe Bryant, with anyone else when it comes to just strictly skill. Another guy who injuries cost us the best of Tracy McGrady, but a healthy Tracy McGrady was a problem.
Yeah, I was going to say Dame is kind of approaching Kevin Garnett territory. I know Garnett won an MVP. Dame hasn't been there yet, but Dame's been All-NBA multiple times. But you think that you are going to stay loyal to this place, and that is your plan. But sometimes plans need changing. And Kevin Garnett ultimately realized, I'm sure he wished, I think he admitted as much, he would have done it sooner in his career, but you got to go somewhere else if you want to win a championship. You got to team up maybe with some guys that you're friendly with and your game vibes with, and maybe Dame is slowly coming to that realization. And he definitely deserves to win an NBA title. It would be great to see Damian Lillard NBA champion, to see him do the Dame time stuff.
when it
really counts. Not in the first round. Yeah. In a conference finals, in an NBA finals, on a big, big, big stage. We deserve to see that as fans of the league and as fans of him, because he's a great guy. And hopefully he figures out this sooner rather than later.
I mean, I love Dame Lillard as a player, man. It's just like, I want to see him, get that ring. But
and the thing is, I know that he's dying. He wants to win that for Portland. I know that. You know that.
For sure. But
look at the landscape, read the room.
And at some point, if the general manager of your team is not making the right moves to take your team to the next level, at that point you have to think, okay, maybe I need to go to another team that can figure it out.
Yeah, take your career in your own hands and get yourself in a situation where you can win.
As it is, when we're on that pyramid of ranking of players, he's always going to be that tier below Steph, even though, in terms of basketball skill, they could be here. But because Steph has the rings and the success, he's always going to be listed above Dame, fairly or unfairly. That's your competition. That's Dame Lillard's competition, is a Steph Curry. It's no one else, because no one else is on their level. You know what I mean? So it's just something that, maybe he's content. A lot of people are content, but if not, Portland's probably not the place for him to be.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for our first episode. That was a lot of fun. Leave some comments if you like what we're saying, if you have some ideas for some other topics. We got lots of segments we're going to bring to you throughout the NBA season. We're going to take this all the way through to the NBA Finals once a week here on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube page. This is the Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast. Very original name. But before we check out finally for today, TJ, you were telling us a story post-show yesterday that we just have to bring to the people because it's so damn funny. So you hosted a white elephant party over the weekend, and someone at the party was doing this one thing that kept annoying you.
All right, so I didn't host the party. I was the MC.
You were the MC at the party.
For a white elephant party.
MC at the party.
And
do you have a microphone?
I had a microphone,
Wow,
yeah.
so they had a whole PA system hooked up?
Yeah, and it's great. Like, we've been doing this for this is like the 7th or 6th year. Okay. And it's great. If you've never been to a white elephant party, it's where you bring these gifts, right? And
gag gifts.
They're kind of gag gifts. Yeah. And you bring them and you pull numbers out and you exchange them. So you get number one. All the presents are wrapped up under the tree, right? So you don't know what it is. You're just going by look and feel. You pick something, you unwrap it, you show it to everyone. And then the thing is, you're not safe because someone later on can decide that they want your gift,
Right.
and they could steal it from you. And then you've got to go back and pick another gift. Right. So that's kind of what the white elephant is, and it's a lot of fun. And I sit there and we'll talk about the people who are picking kind of the gifts that they get, and then I'll start chants for every gift. Like a lot of liquor is exchanged at these things. So as soon as somebody opens up, it's a bottle of liquor, I got to start to drink it, drink it, drink it. So you've got a whole party chanting some of the drinking. You've got to crack this thing open and drink whatever it is, or smoke whatever it is. The cigarettes, not the other stuff. But yeah, sure. But it wasn't just there. It's just I sometimes have a problem, especially now in COVID, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've done a good job of kind of like not going out into the public, probably to my own detriment. I'm losing my mind. I used to be the life of the party. I used to be on the scene, and now the last 20 or so months, I'm kind of a hermit, which is very weird for me. But I decided to go out and, engage with, mankind again. But the thing is, a few people at the party, and by no fault of theirs, it wasn't anything that they were consciously doing, but because I'm weirded out now, people were doing the very close talking thing to me, very close to my face.
Bad. Close talking is the worst.
And so there would be multiple times where I'd be in the backyard, and they had these high top tables throughout the backyard, and I would try to position myself on the other side just to get that distance, because it's we're still in COVID, man.
It was like the NFL. You needed a neutral zone.
You need a neutral zone, and I don't. It's fine before, in 2019 where you'd talk to me and you'd be in my ear, but now we're in COVID. You're vax, cool, but still, I don't think that we should be this close. So I would find myself at different times of night, kind of trying to put a barrier between me and the person that I was talking to.
Funny.
And at one point, a buddy of mine, we were talking, and he was leaning in. He was really close, and I grabbed my cup to drink, and I kind of threw my elbow out, yeah, that's funny. And I pretended to drink, but I would keep my elbow out just to put that. That's how close it was. And I was like, okay.
Just 18 inches of your arm.
Back up a little bit, man, because I ain't trying to catch this Rona.
The problem is so many people are so unaware when they're doing
unaware.
This.
Yeah. No clue.
And then you get alcohol involved, and they're completely unaware.
And that's the thing. When people start boozing, you're used to being at a bar. You got to talk close to here anyway. So you're just kind of hey.
Yeah. And I get it, right? I hadn't seen a lot of these people in 2 years. Sure. People were drinking. A lot of people hadn't really been to a social function like this. There was maybe 40 people there.
You said it was outside, backyard situation?
Backyard until we went inside. But yeah, so it was, and I think most of the people there were vaccinated. They were safe. But yeah, it is. You put a little liquor in it, and you haven't seen people, and you're happy to be out. And drunk people always get a little close to you when they're talking anyway. Except I can't have that with the Rona floating around. So I had to put up some barriers, maybe throw them bows a little, just to keep a distance.
And you have a microphone. So
well, this was before.
This is before.
Yeah. The microphone was, that was during the party. And
that's just too funny. That's something we could think about later on, not just party pet peeves, but pet peeves at sporting events, because I've got so many.
I have so many.
I've got so many. I've got so many rules.
And I probably don't agree with the majority of them, but
probably. But you're down with this one. Don't be a close talker, people.
Yeah, don't be a close talker.
If you're at a party over Christmas, keep your distance.
Keep your distance.
Just for safety. Hey, 2022. We can get in close again.
That's the thing. Is they may not tell you, but just know that they're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with how close you are.
The funny thing also is, even before COVID, this was an issue with me also.
Really?
Where people would come up to me. I'm like, I can hear you from 3 feet away. You don't have to come 3 inches from my face. And your breath smells. You need some gum also. Stop doing this.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
all right,
luckily,
people.
that wasn't a problem, thankfully, on that. It was just the proximity was a little too tight.
Okay, people. That's TJ, Adam. I'm Chris. This is the Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast. Every week, we're going to talk ball throughout the whole year. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Peace out. Peace.